What's up, y'all? Welcome to Wake Up Duval County. It's a special episode today. It's a poetry episode today, so you're gonna have your boy Rashad hosting. The two guests I have today is just dope in the poetry community. One is an OG in the poetry community. One is up and coming, but he definitely got some stuff growing up. Yes. It's an honor for me to introduce both of these people. We were supposed to have Moses once coming out, but he can't make it today because it's the Cypher tonight. So make sure if y'all able to go out to the Cypher on Thursdays, please do that. You know, show love, support. Yeah. Before we get started, I gotta introduce the first person. Basically a jill of all trades, businesswoman, MC. Usually she's the interviewer. Now she getting interviewed, and it's an honor for me to interview her because she gave me one of my first interviews with my book. So, what's up?
What's going on?
What's going on? Chill. Tell us who you are. Tell us if they don't know who you are. Let them know who you are.
My name is Taryn Love Reigns Wharwood. I am a poet, author, activist, advocate, owner, entrepreneur.
Do everything.
Yeah, all the things.
Right.
Creative, all that.
All right. And my next guest, I see this man every other Monday at Rain Dogs because I'm one of the co-hosts at Rain Dogs. So please support us. Show love every Monday from 8 to 10. We got the open mic night. I'm one of the co-hosts. Reign Supreme is one of the co-hosts. And we got a few other people, but they got personal issues. So usually it's just me and him. If I'm not hosting, he doing the music. If he's hosting, I'm doing the music. Right? So, and this person is a regular here. You know, one of the few people I know that actually, when they come to Rain Dogs, they actually give you a show. They give you a performance. You know what I mean? And he actually does everything off the top of the dome. With the shades on. He look cool and he is cool. And at first, I'm just like, when I first see him, I'm like, man, who is this? And then when he opened his mouth and give you his art, it shuts you up. So, other than my dog Micah, man, what's up?
How y'all doing, man? I'm Micah. I don't have as many accolades behind my name as...
Not yet.
Not yet,
but I'm a poet as well as an event curator. I have my own open mic. It's Poetically, Mike. You know, I had to rock the little merch for you. Yeah, those are really my two main things. I do a lot of different other things, but as far as titles, poet and event curator. Yeah, that's me. I'm Micah.
Right.
Know me by the brown skin with shades on, you know, something slight.
But yeah, going into it, like I said, this is the poetry episode. So everybody here, we do something. You see us performing somewhere, you see us selling some type of merch, some type of work, doing something. But the first thing, as a poet and as a fan of both of these people, I gotta ask, I got my own question. Okay, y'all. Okay. The first question is, how did you get started in poetry? Not just performing, but actually writing it.
I'm gonna let Mike go first.
Okay. It's kind of crazy. I haven't really been doing poetry for too long, so I said kind of crazy because like compared to a lot of my peers, they've been writing for a little minute. But I mean, I wrote my first poem in 11th grade for like a reading project or something like that, or like a writing project, and it was cool. But it was nothing I really stuck with because I didn't know much about poetry. I just genuinely did it. Wrote my second one in 12th grade, and after that I just fell off. Like it was nothing. But I lost my father back in 2021, and from there I just remember writing a lot. Like I don't know what the reason was, but I remember one time I was opening my notes app. I can't remember the specific date, but I just started writing, and eventually I did come to recognize what I was doing was poetry. And I don't know, I went to Chamberlain's because I was actually buying poetry books at the time, and there was a brochure for Rain Dogs. It was like their open mic. It was like a little flyer, so I picked it up. A couple weeks later, I actually went and performed, and the rest is, you know.
Now you're a regular.
Mm-hmm.
Regular. Say a question.
So actually, I got introduced to poetry at 5. First poem I ever did at age 5 was Rivers by Langston Hughes. The school that I went to was a small private school, and that was our entry. Like our entry into school every day, we had to either recite a poem or a quote, and then we had to follow it with, "My name is Taryn Wharwood, and I have a great mind." So poetry has been like embedded in me since 5. But I started writing in high school, and then what's funny is I didn't even really start performing until I moved to Jacksonville in 2005. Stepped on the stage, sharing my words, and been on it ever since. And I've been.
Where were you originally from?
Miami.
See, I gotta say this because there's always people that move here. I'm a native here. I'm born and bred here. It's always a native. It's always a person. People who come here, and they come here from artistic cities already. They come here and they bring art to Jacksonville. Mm-hmm. So always that. If it's not Miami, they come from New York. They come from Chicago, and they do something, or Atlanta. So it's always cool. Because at first I thought you were, because of everything that you do, especially with your activism, I thought you were from here. I mean, you from here now.
All right, might as well. Well, so Jacksonville is near and dear to my heart. Like, it always has been. My mom is from here. My whole family is from here. My mom actually went to Douglas Anderson when it was still segregated. My mom and my aunts. Oh, wow. So staying in Jacksonville has been like, like I have roots here. Right. Like this is where my family is from. So it's important for me. It's been important for me to continue those roots and to continue to be able to do things, like to be able to go places, perform at places, and do the things that they weren't even allowed to do at my age or younger. It's an honor. It's just an honor to be able to pay homage to them. So, Jacksonville's home. Right. It's like a second home,
Going into my next question with Jacksonville, how do you guys feel about the Jacksonville poetry scene? Because coming up in it, it's always something new about it.
So for me, it's interesting. I'm not as much a part of it as I was. But there used to be a time where I was hosting 3-4 shows a week. Wow. In different places every single week. And now it's just like, I might go to one every now and then. Right. But what I miss about what I loved about the poetry scene was that it was the camaraderie. It really felt like a family. If it wasn't for people like Emmanuel Washington, God bless his soul, and then Tiffany Duhart, who started Nocturnal Escape, poetry wouldn't even exist in Jacksonville if it wasn't for them, Boomtown used to be over at the Dalton Agency downtown. Mm-hmm. That's where we used to go. Like, that's where we would perform, and that's where they would bring the greats, Jaguar Wright, Georgia Me, and Salam Acey, like all these big name people. I met all of those people there, right here in Jacksonville, because they brought them here. So without those people, Tiffany and Emmanuel and Tanya Smart, there would be no poetry in Jacksonville, and of course Al Letson and all those folks. So to me, I'm still holding on to the memories of the old time, but it feels good. Like, it really feels good to see Rashad, see Micah out there, like, see y'all doing stuff, like, because y'all are continuing the legacy of what they started. You know what I mean? So to me, like, I love it. I love to see it grow.
It's just work. You gotta move on.
Yeah. Definitely feel that. It's pretty interesting too. Now I'm relatively new to like this world of just like art and like poetry overall. Like I've been doing it for years and change, but with like a lot of my more like knowledgeable peers, like Reign Supreme you mentioned, and then even just like like people like you. Like you mentioned, like all these things are like the basis of like the things I'm seeing the product of now. It's just so interesting that I'm like living in that. You know what I'm saying? Because like it don't just come from out of nowhere. Yeah. So as far as the poetry community in Jacksonville, though, I would say it's definitely a family. That family that they established as a foundation. The people which you talked about is very prominent now. I came from like a wave of poets. I want to say that really kind of started really doing their thing out of Jazzies. Jazzies, rest in peace to Jazzies, but that's really where I got like my groove in. I remember the first time I stepped to Jazzies, man, it was like a whole different, like I had never seen anything like that. The first time I stepped to Jazzies, I only had performed like maybe 5 times at Rain Dogs. So I was like, I already had stuff, written, but like it was like a whole nother scene, man. And I just remember going up there, I was nervous, whispering on the mic, but after I finished, man, they embraced me, and it was just up from there. Like, I had never really felt love like that from, like, just people I didn't know until I really stepped out and chose, okay, hey, let me come here consistently and do my thing, and it really paid off.
You get nervous?
Oh, well, I do, for one. I do.
That's unbelievable.
But, like, it's crazy because, like, a lot of the reasons why, like, people don't see, like, nervous tics from me is because of the people I chose to learn from. And, like, I never really had, like, a specific mentor. Like, I never had for poetry. It was just, like, a lot of different people who were always better than me, who are always wanting to be a sponge around. Like, it's people like, Reese the Poet, Brother Young, like, just, like, different people who I've just pulled different tips and advice from and really just stuck with it. Like, when somebody tells me something, especially if it's, like, criticism as far as poetry and, like, the way I perform, all that kind of stuff, I take it to heart. Like, not in a bad way, like, I really, like, hold on to it and I look to refine whatever it is they're talking about. So next time, what else am I messing up on now? You know what I'm saying? So, I do still get nervous, but 9 times out of 10, people will, like, never tell, especially if it's on stage. Because it's like, the kind of poetry I write, I feel as though if it don't come off smooth, then I ain't doing it right. So
that's the thing. Like, it's hard for me to believe that he's nervous. Because like I said, I watch this boy, this man, I'm sorry, every other Monday, because he don't come every Monday, but every other Monday. And when he gets on stage, it's just, he's cool. Like, it's that cool. I would never believe that he's nervous, because I'm nervous every time I get on stage. Mm-hmm. And that's even with paid shows or just open mics. You're nervous, whatever, but when you get on stage, it's something different.
I don't think the nervousness ever really leaves either. Like, I know, like, I was actually having a conversation with Brother Young about this one time, and I guess if I ever did have a mentor, especially earlier on, because I know I definitely don't really have one as it is, but earlier on, it would have been Brother Young. But I was having a conversation with him, and I was like, how do I really work on my nerves? He said, you just do it. He said, there's no other, like, real way around it. And he said, eventually, the nerves turn into anticipation. So, like, I feel like I'm kind of living in that now. Like, I don't really get nervous anymore. I more so get excited, and if I don't manage my, like, my levels of excitement, then I can, like, do things like mess up that I don't want to do. So I'm just learning how to manage that.
Okay. All right, going into the events. I already know you have your hand in so many things, but
it's funny. People always say that, and I really am not doing as much as people think I am. Not really, not as
right
much.
Now.
Not in comparison to what I used to do.
Okay.
If you knew what I used to do,
I know.
It's just like so. No, I got a couple things happening. So I have people have been asking me, like, when am I going to do another open mic? So I have an open mic that's happening on March 30th at Babs Lab from 7 to 10. I have Rashad Medlock and I Give featuring. We also have a featured vendor, Thrifty Rose. Yes. And it's called Movements of Love. Mm-hmm. And what Movements of Love is like a couple years ago for my birthday, which is February 16th. So happy birth month to me. I decided to give back to the community and offer like free headshots and bios to creatives. Nice. So I called it Movements of Love, Lessons of Varied Experiences.
Yeah.
I got you. But the reason I did that was because I realized too was like, as I started to do different things, I would reach out to people and I'd be like, I would get called on for offering like poets or entertainers or whatever. And I would call people and I would say, hey, send me a headshot. Mm-hmm. Or hey, send me a bio. Mm-hmm. And they didn't have it. 9 times out of 10, they didn't have it. Right. And so I was like, okay, how can I give back to the community? I always wanted to give back on my birthday. So I gave back to the community on my birthday. And we did, it was a really dope event. Like I wanted to do it every year. Mm-hmm. Just didn't work out that way, but the first one was really good. So this is kind of like the continuation of Movements of Love. And so that's that. And then I have another event happening on February 17th, which is called The Room on Queer, which is the evolution of an event called The Closet that kind of came from that. So, and that's for all LGBTQ plus and allies, just giving an opportunity. Like, I'm always about giving people opportunities. And so what I realized was that there's not many opportunities for LGBT artists to perform. So I'm creating one. Right. So that's what it is. And that's going to be at the Walrus on February 17th.
And I got to say this before I move to you, bro. I got to say this as far as her, because she will give opportunities. Like, she will give you an opportunity. I remember like the first pop-up shop I ever did, she gave me my opportunity. So thank you for that. And what's the other thing we did? Anytime you have an event, you're gonna ask, can you do it? Can you be a part of it?
Yeah, I mean, and it's because that's important to me. You know what I mean? Because it's like, why would I just perform on a stage and it's just me? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? And I'm 40 now. I'm not gonna be at every event.
Right.
I'm just not. Okay, I'm not. You know. And on top of that, like I have other things that I'm working on, but I want to create opportunities. And so if I'm given the stage, I want to be able to provide a stage for everybody else. And that's just always how I've been, you know. So people have done that for me. People like Emmanuel and Tiffany, they did that for me. So it's up to me to be able to give that back as well. So,
all right, okay. Now, what's up with?
I'm over still in shock, inspired. I mean,
oh yes, you being around her, you gonna get
man.
inspired. It's just like you just be a sponge.
Yeah, definitely.
Know?
Hey, that's
always
that's
gonna
what
give
it
you
be.
some game, all that. Even then, just like how to run your business, how to do your art. She's gonna show you how to do that. You know,
I'm not a gatekeeper. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just.
Say it again.
I am not a gatekeeper.
You
know what I'm saying? Because it's no point. It's silly. You know what I mean? Like we're grown. You know, like there's no point in holding information. Like why would I do that?
Right.
Well, if I know something, why would it make sense for me to just hold on to that and just cuff it like it's mine? No, I want to be able to give it back to the other generation. And plus, I work with kids every single day, so I would be a liar if I'm withholding information from you and I'm telling these kids to go out there and be great. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I gotta walk it. I also like I don't just talk it. I walk it. You know, because I'm telling these kids, go out there, be great, share your work, tell your story. You know, so I want to be able to give back what people gave to me. You know what I mean? It just makes sense to me. That's how you stay blessed. You know, is if you continue to give back.
So
what's about it?
Start.
So my first question is how did you create this? How did you get started with it?
Well, honestly, I kind of, you know, even though I haven't really been doing it that long, poetry at least, I kind of reached a point where I was just like, I don't want to just be I'm passionate about poetry, but passion don't pay bills. Like I wanted to at some point be able to say, hey, I am a poet and I love this, but I'm also making money from this without money being like at the forefront of what I do.
Right.
So I thought about different ways to, you know, go about actually moving into that and doing it. And I thought, okay, hey, why not do an open mic? But even in doing that, you know, the big thing was I didn't want money to be, you know, at the forefront of what I'm doing. So I was just like, okay, so how can I be meticulous about it and strategic enough for it to work, but for it to also like not distort my path in any kind of way. And I was like, okay, I went to thinking. I thought about it for like a month. And then once I got every single thing down packed, I said, okay, this is what I'm doing. So came up with a name. I thought about a name for a month as well. And then I was like, okay, I'm gonna simplify it. Poets on the mic. What is that? Poetically mic. I mean, boom. Hey, there you go. Multi-million-dollar franchise business. But came up with the name. And from there, I just started looking toward different venues. And eventually I found Uptown. I had a conversation with the owners. Everything worked out. And my first event was free. But since I knew like what it is I wanted and longevity of the actual open mic, what I did was, you know, I kind of want to get people in the groove of doing a certain thing in order to actually come to the open mic. So I did RSVPs. I set up my Eventbrite and had people RSVP to, you know, reserve their seat for the open mic, which worked out. You know, I did 100. It would cap out at 100. You know, I was selling out.
Right.
And I did it for the first 2 months, and then during the new year, I made a transition into paid seating. So, which was January, technically last month, and I sold out again, which it was a big surprise because no, I really wasn't doing it for money, and I didn't even really want to charge for the first event of the year. But I recognize it's a lot easier to have people respect what you're doing if you come in the new year with it. You know, it's a lot harder to say in February or March or April, hey, you know, now it's a fee, because you know, while people love poetry and just art overall, sometimes people can kind of get into the groove of being so freeform with art that they don't recognize it has value, and sometimes you have to pay for that. You know what I'm saying? So I know I started the new year. You know, I did admissions for it, and it worked out for me. But even in that, I'm still putting in work. I wanted to be different from other open mics as well. So with Poetically Mike, it's a competitive open mic. So the way I do it is, you know, I have poets come in, they sign up the day of, and the list is actually randomized. It's I put it into like a system, and it's separated into 3 rounds of 4 to 5 poets. And what will happen is throughout the night, you know, as you perform, I'll have polls put up for each round on Instagram, and people can vote through Instagram. And in the night, I'll announce the winners of it. You know, and it's not to deter anybody or bring anybody down. It's just to promote, you know, people actually being rewarded for their art, you know, in ways in which they usually wouldn't. You know, applause from the crowd and just being able to put your stuff out is good and all, but like, you know, they don't pay bills. So I wanted to actually kind of introduce to a lot of people who haven't really been introduced to this, actually being awarded monetarily for the stuff and what you're doing, especially when it comes to your art like poetry.
Right.
So that was the big thing with open mic, and I'm still working toward it. I'm looking to expand in different ways, and it's working out for me so far.
Don't you have a sponsorship with DTLR?
I do. I have a sponsorship with DTLR. They have been amazing, man. Big shout out to Mr. David. He probably shaking his head right now. Oh. Big shout out to you, Mr. David. I know you're probably shaking your head watching this because he doesn't like me mentioning him, but without him, I mean, the sponsorship probably would not have worked out to the extent it has now, and even for future reference. I thank him. I always give him his flowers. Appreciate you, Mr. David. But yes, I do have a sponsorship with DTLR, and they are doing a lot for me.
Just that, man. Definitely. All right. Next question for the both of you guys. Another poet question. Mm-hmm. Where do you see Jacksonville poetry going in the near future?
It's a good old question right there. Let me think on that one.
I mean, because we're here, all of us, in some way, we doing this. We're a part of this community. We putting in work, or you've been putting in work, you know. So just to see where your head is at, where it should be going, or what you think it should be also.
I tell my friends this often. I believe like Jacksonville is like, I think like the talent and like the way things work in Jacksonville, at least, you know, I ain't really been to other cities and experienced too much of poetry outside of like Atlanta. It kind of comes in waves. I like to think I'm part of a newer wave for sure, but even amongst the waves and all that kind of stuff, I like to think that Jacksonville is like in like the start of like a new like Renaissance era, if you will.
Right. You
got like a lot of people, like a lot of heavy hitters coming from out of like different scenes, especially just in the art community in general, and really kind of pulling the community and more like together. As far as poetry, I like to think, and this is a vague answer, right. This is just how I see it. Honestly, everybody who's really putting in work now will be the dictators of how the poetry community or art community will look in 5 years. That's really all I can really say to it. Like I know I got a friend, B, shout out to B. She's definitely doing her thing. She is amazing, and I know she will definitely be someone. And when I say dictators, I don't like to think of as like people who are just like controlling. I like to think just people who are promoting certain things in the community. Those will be like kind of like the voices, if you will, or like the people who can say, hey, this is happening, and people actually go and support this. I think people's putting in work now, whether you are performing at open mics or you have your own space in which you curate, or you just, you know, you're a big supporter. People who stand out and are genuinely just doing things for the love of it or for the love of other people will be the people to eventually say, hey, this is what's happening, and people kind of enjoy that. Right? Right. She's definitely one of the people like now. So.
The art space.
It's all good.
Art is
everywhere. So I'm glad you mentioned B.
Let her walk through, and then we'll get back into it. Okay.
She does Indulgence, Love Jones, which is at Indulgence, and she has her own open mic where she curates Greenhouse Jacks, or she has.
I know she like Greenhouse.
Sorry.
You good.
So you mentioned B. B is actually hosting. I forgot. She's hosting my youth open mic this Saturday at James Weldon Johnson Park. It's from 2 to 4. So it's free, open to all youth. And that's so I am the program director at the Performers Academy. And so it's all about like making space for these young creatives, right? And I'm excited. I'm excited to see where it's going. You know, people like Micah, like you. I'm excited to see where it's going, man, because it really makes me feel like all of the work that was done before, you know, to see it grow and evolve into something different. Like, that's dope. That is really dope to me. And I think it's really up to us, right, the OGs of the community, to continue to make things easier for y'all. You know what I mean? I had the honor of being on the Mayor's Transition Committee earlier last year for arts, entertainment, and culture. And we did a lot of work for like 4 or 5 months talking about just that. Like, how can we make Jacksonville the place that artists want to stay? How can we make Jacksonville the place where artists actually thrive and can be able to make money from it? So I'm excited to see where it goes. I'm excited to see what y'all do with, you know, what all of us continue to do and see where it goes. So, yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.
Definitely seen the fruits of that.
Yeah,
for sure.
it's working. I love it. Like, that's what it's about. You know what I mean?
How can we support you guys?
So, I will say, before I even get into how you can support the open mic, I do this thing, I've just now kind of started moving into it. It's called cinematic poetry. And basically what that is my way of fusing film and poetry. If you look at my Instagram, which is Who Is Mike, I don't know how that works, they'll tag it, but Toya, she got it. I know she got it. You know what I'm saying? Big shout out to Toya. You know, she be trying to hide out to the
Right.
But if you look at my Instagram, you can see like different examples of that. It's just something new I'm trying, and it's really been working out. I want to kind of move deeper into film with it and acting overall. But if you want to support me on that, just give me a follow, man. Tap in with me if you want to collaborate. If you want to even be featured, hit me up. I don't bite, I promise. Don't let the shades, deter you. But as far as my open mic, if you want to support that, you can follow that on Instagram as well at Poetically Mike. I have a show coming this month. The date is not confirmed yet, but as soon as it is, trust me, I will flood your timeline with information regarding that. So definitely, the best way to tap in and support me is just to connect with me through social media. You can follow me on Instagram at Who Is Micah. So that's WHOIISMICAH. And as far as the open mic, you can follow that on Instagram as well at Poetically Mike. So that's POETICALLYMICD. Whew, I've never been to spelling bee before, but I've done a good job.
All right, OG, what's up? What you got?
I am Love Reigns everywhere. IAMLOVEREIGNS. Check out my website. Everything's on my website. IamLoveReigns.live. I have started a clothing brand. Well, it's not clothing. It's all about love, right? Like, everything is about love. So I have started a brand.
She definitely got it all.
Right.
All right, just
Magical AM.
You know what I'm saying? So it's El Reem. It's kind of like a play off of Cream by Wu-Tang Clan. So love rules everything around me. So that is the brand.
Wow.
It's trademarked. Don't try it. But yeah, so love rules everything around me. That website is lovereigns.shop. But everything is on my website. IamLoveReigns.live. I got yard signs, flags that say, like last year, people would randomly tag me in these posts where they would have these yard signs that said only like love lives here, or no room for hate, love here, no, something like that. And people thought they were my signs, and I was like, no. But every time they saw them, they would tag me. So I was like, okay, let me create my own sign. So I created my own yard sign. So y'all go, I want to see that. I would love to see that all over Jacksonville, man, because, there's no room for hate. Like, shout out to I Give. He got a song, called Not Hate. Like, let's love, not hate. Like, there's no point. So it's all about love.
Speaking of more shout outs, do y'all want to give out any shout outs to the other poets out here?
Where do I start?
I'm not even gonna try, because I ain't gonna have nobody mad at me. Shouts out to everybody, all the creatives, all the poets, all of that.
Big shout out to everybody, but I do have a couple people. Now look, if I forget to mention you, do not beat me up.
Right.
I just know there are some people who have really helped me out along the way. Actually, I had something prepared for. So I'm gonna try to run through it. You got B. Mentioned her earlier. She's an amazing poet. She's multi-talented for sure. She ain't just a poet. I ain't even gonna box
Also artist too. I just found that out.
Yes,
I was like,
she was doing styles like that for this clothing brand as well. She is amazing. Tap in with her.
She's actually a member of Wake Up Duval County. We just locked in.
When?
Recently.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah. So
See,
you'll see.
Welcome.
People like walking from around the corners. But got B, got my boy Reign Supreme. Definitely not slept on. He's definitely one of them goats in this community.
That's a fact.
Reese the poet, that man is amazing. The pretty poet, Jada Breeze, she's amazing as well. Mr. So It Goes. Oh my God, there's so many people. Simone, Forever Simone, she's amazing. Cage Bird, he's amazing. It's so many. Wow, that is crazy. Look, I'm gonna stop here.
See, that's why I was like, I don't even want to do it. I don't even want to do it. I'm not
Fernell
gonna
Greens.
shout out to all the. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna say shout out to all the OG poets.
Okay, of course.
Shout out to all the OG
Yes.
poets that laid the ground, laid the foundation for these new up and coming poets. There, we passed the torch and they doing the damn thing.
Yes,
So,
brother.
yeah. And I meant to say too. So this is when you're right. I say I do too much. Simone is featuring at my February 7th. I'm sorry. Y'all just gotta listen.
Do everything.
All the things.
She got the YouTube. She got
I be all over the place. And then I
Yes.
got the poetry. Aren't you doing the poetry fest? I hit you up. Yes, doing the poetry fest in April.
Oop. You ain't sending the shot. Uh-oh. So Micah, so deflecting real quick. Micah, you have a comment. You have a comment for Morgan Renee Myers. She says that cinematic poetry is what has me tuned into Micah. Still haven't met him in person yet, but I'm a fan.
Hey,
That's what's up.
Thank you so much. That is crazy.
Thank you so much, Morgan.
Means a lot. Thank you.
Alright.
I'm loving it either way. I appreciate you.
Listen, they've been tuned in the whole time,
Shouts out
but
to
you know.
Toya got the shot.
Thank you.
Got the shot, boy.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you all were able to make it today. I understand that Moses couldn't make it because we had the time delay and he had to make it over to the cipher. But I asked specifically you all to come to kind of get an idea of what it looks like when we collaboratively work. I feel like if we were to split our current timeline right now into 3 generations, it would be you 3 that I've seen at the forefront, but also like leading from the back. And that's important to me to see. You know what I'm saying? Like you serve other people, you help other people get on board. I mean, I've seen Rashad working soundboards, you know what I'm saying? You know, like whatever needs to be done, let's get it done. And I see that in all of you guys. So that's why I invited you guys to be here this month. It's Love Month, and we're celebrating all things for the love of all things. And this was for the love of poetry. When I think of poetry, I think of you 3, and of course our brother Moses West, especially with with his erotic poetry. He's like the Zane of poetry in Jacksonville.
We were actually talking about that. Like me and Giv and Rashad were talking about when we first started the cipher. It was I didn't want to host. I was like, I do not want to host. I always wanted to be behind the scenes because I did not want the spotlight. That's never been in my character, right? And then it just so happens that I was like kind of forced into hosting, and then I hosted ever since. But I didn't want to host. I was just like, no. That's how Giv started hosting. Giv was hosting the cipher for a while because I didn't want to. So it was
but you
not want to be in the spotlight.
Right, but because there's so much work to be done behind the scenes, and we know that, you know, and there's so many talented individuals around us. It's like, why not give somebody else that spotlight? Absolutely. That's how I feel behind my camera. Like, y'all look so good. I want people to see how y'all, like, I see y'all, you know what I mean? So for y'all to get up, like, week after week, be dedicated to come to these events, because I know how it is doing events. I know how it is just being at them, because I be tired, y'all. You know what I'm saying? But y'all come week after week, month after month, and still give y'all all. And every time I've seen y'all perform, y'all have never given no nothing performance. You know what I'm saying? And we got the footage to prove it. You know what I'm saying? I really appreciate y'all and what y'all doing. Like, please don't stop. I want to see more books, because we ain't talked about that, you know. You know.
Do we have, I mean, I know what I'm working on.
Okay.
Do y'all have any books coming out? Do you have any published coming out? Any, like,
is that an area that y'all want to go into?
You want to get into that?
It's kind of funny. Since I haven't really been writing that long, I don't really know the ins and outs of poetry. A lot of my poetry, in my opinion at least, isn't really made for, like, if anything, it could be like an audio book or something like that. You know, I can see something like, oh yeah, definitely. I thought it was just something like straight books.
No. Like, you have more avenues to get it out.
Definitely, I'm moving into like, I guess it's music overall when it comes to poetry, especially with the cinematic poetry, because all that is you know, obviously it's film mixed with poetry, but I'm putting my poetry over music as well. So you know, I'm digging into that bag, and it's
you a spoken word artist, bro. Yeah, spoken word out.
The Duffy looking heavy. Duffy heavy.
I'm working on it'll be my second full book of poetry, but my fifth overall book of, you know, some of my poetry. Other than that, like, I'm just all about like promoting all these other people, like my kids that we've been working with, and my kids, which is an alternative school for boys. We've been working, Swords and Moses have actually been working with Swords.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Duval County legend.
Very much so.
Duval County legend.
And you will be on the show.
Look it up.
Yeah, they've been working with and my kids to release their second book of poetry. So that's happening February 24th. So I'm excited about that. Just focusing on editing that and getting that typed up for them. Yeah, that's it. I mean, other than working and all the other things, I do have some exciting things happening with the brand, and then also some other stuff that's I can't really speak about right now, but it is definitely going to be something that Duval needs, something that our youth need for sure. And yeah, so.
Oh yeah, I'm excited.
I know it's gonna be dope.
We ain't gotta have the details. That was enough.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's
some
big things.
Say that again,
If
Sean.
Love Rains is a part of it, it is going to be a dope event. I'm looking directly in the camera when I say that. If she is a part of it, if her name is attached to it, you're gonna get a show, you're gonna get a dope event. She's a dope chick, so anything she put her hands on is dope. Period. You know what I'm saying?
It's like that's when you just like turn the phone off.
Period.
Mic drop.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't take any credit from that for that. I mean, I appreciate it. You know, like I said, it's embedded in my blood. You know, it's in my genes.
Right.
My family, my grandfather was a pillar in this community. My mom and my aunts, they made a name for themselves in Jacksonville. So it's just like, I have to continue the legacy.
Right.
Like, there's no other way.
And for me, I gotta do that because, you know, when you first see me, you were just like, I'm rough around the edges. Like, I really don't know the ins and outs of how this works. And you just, even though you're not really talking, but you're just giving me little bits and pieces, little game, I'm still using that. Like, you might just saying just little things, just like, all right, whatever. But it mean a lot to me because, especially because you're an OG. Because I didn't know where to go to find OGs. I'm just, all right, it's an open mic. All right, let me go here. Let me see. Let me just try something. Let me just see how this works. And if you like my talent, you know, you mess with me, and you did. You was one of the first people to mess with me. One of the first people to see me. So I gotta always give you your props. Every time I see you, I gotta give you a hug. Just period. So. That's just
Alright, listen, y'all not gonna try to make me cry. I'm a thug. I told you I'm from Miami, for real.
These shades hot to tear y'all.
But no, I appreciate it. I do. I just, you know, I have to work on.
I'm saying you gotta receive that. I was gonna say nothing, but you really do, man.
Definitely, I gotta give they flowers because with our profession, with our art, a lot of times we don't get flowers, and a lot of times like poetry don't pay. That's what the main thing. You gotta have a niche around it so people can come out, or you gotta have an audio book because people don't read. You know what I'm saying? So it's just when you get a part of this community and actually get with people in the community and you see like they care, they actually telling you how to do better performing, they actually telling you what open mics to go to, they actually telling you when is it a pop-up. So you can, if you got product to sell, you can sell it. And you can sell it, I was selling my books with her. When she was selling her clothes, I'm selling my books in the same stall. She's showing me how to put my books up because I'm just laying them on the table.
That's crazy.
She was like, nah, do it like this so they see it. And then I got bread off of that. So just off of that, I got it. You remember one? Yeah.
And but here's the thing, right? Like what I've realized is that, you know, you can monetize anything. You know what I mean?
Bingo.
And it's not even really about what you sell. What you're selling is yourself. You know what I mean? So you gotta focus on if you know that what you have is a great product, the people are gonna come.
Right.
You don't have to beg for anything. You don't have to beg for people to buy anything from you. Right, it does. You know, it really does, you know? And I'm an open book. Exactly. I'm an open book. So anybody, if people ask me questions all the time, like, I'm not gonna charge people. If you have a question, hit me up, inbox me, DM me. Like, I don't mind answering questions, you know what I mean? But as far as like poetry, like self-publish, you know, go to KDP and publish it yourself and put it on Amazon, and it's probably illegal, but put it on Amazon and then duplicate it. You know, or
actually it's not, because I did it through KDP. I did my 3 books through KDP. Shout out to Amazon.
Yeah.
The main thing about it is, and I'm gonna give y'all the game, just like how she give me the game, I'm gonna give y'all the game. With KDP, it sounds good that you have your book on Amazon. It sounds good in theory, but if you don't have your duplicates, if you don't buy physical copies, that's how you gonna make your money.
Right.
You know, it sounds good that you have it on Amazon. It's cool. You can say it, you share a link.
Right.
But if you're not constantly promoting it on Amazon, if you don't have ratings on Amazon, it's just on there. And then, but like I'm telling you, you get your physical copies, get 100 physical copies of your book.
Yeah. And sell it.
And sell it.
And you keep
However you
100%
want
of the profit.
100% of the
And
profit.
the other thing too is copyright. Copyright your stuff, man. Copyright your stuff. You know, trademark your stuff. And also, I reposted something the other day and it said, "Poets stop expecting poets to work for free. Poets stop working for free." That's something I had to learn too. You know what I mean? Because people were telling me.
Say it in the camera.
For real,
Say
poets stop working for free. You know what I mean? Because I'm one of those people that had to learn too. Like there was so many times where I was like getting burnt out, and then walking away from an event with nothing. But they paid the band, they paid the DJ, they paid the host. But then they come to me talking about, oh, I could offer you a meal or I could offer you a drink. Like, no, you know what I mean? So now I'm just like, no, you can't even come to me and say, even if it's, to me, it's principle. Even if you say, I can give you gas money, that's something. Because I might turn it down. But the fact that you offered, but you can't just expect me to show up and not get paid or not get compensated. Like, my time is worth something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there are times where I feel like I can flex a little bit. You know what I mean? Like, I've been here and I've been putting in the work. You're not just going to treat me like nothing.
Right.
Like, no, I have something valuable to give, and you want me. You reached out to me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you have, obviously I have something that you want. I'm not going to do it for free.
Right.
You know what I mean? So don't allow people to tell you, oh, well, we don't have a budget. If they got a budget to pay the DJ, the band, and a host, they got a budget to pay a host.
Give you something, especially it's real life for a lot of us. A lot of us is, when we get on stage, that's saving our lives when we write these stuff. When we write this stuff on this paper or we text it to ourselves, that's saving us. You know what I mean? It's not just a game for us. This is real life. So if we can get paid for it, or when we get paid for it, not if, properly compensate us.
Like a lot of my friends, you know, I mentioned, when I say this, I mean Brain Supreme. He was like, he's like something, like, even though he's like around the same age as me, he really up here. This man is so smart. But beyond that, he like the way in which we came into poetry is so different, but it's so unique to like both of us. I stumbled into poetry. Poetry is kind of like an accident for me, but he started out like he been doing it. He's a prodigy for real. But I can't say one of the ways in which I benefited from stumbling into poetry. Like in my opinion, I was not meant to be a poet. I was meant to be a business owner. Like My mom's an entrepreneur. She ground that into me since I was a kid. Like I knew way more about like just getting an LLC and all that kind of stuff before I knew about how to like really write a poem for real.
Right.
But you know, a lot of people are surprised about, you know, just I've only been doing it for a year, but I'm doing certain things that a lot of poets who've been working with it longer than me haven't done yet. And it's just because like I had that business understanding. Like I didn't put it at the forefront, nor did I allow it to control me, but I was very intentional. Like, yeah, I came to the space in a dark place, and you know, I used it as like a sense of relief and like therapy. It was therapeutic for me, and it still is. But I also was intentional with how like, okay, I don't want you to just be a person who will just perform and that's it. Like, no, I want to truly be able to do this and have it really like work for me in ways more than just therapy. You know what I'm saying? Because at some point, I ain't gonna say you ever stop needing the therapy. That's not true. Poetry is it's always gonna be that. It's always gonna be that Band-Aid or just, hey, that shot of Henny, whatever poetry is for you, it's gonna be that for you. But I want to be intentional, man, and part of that is just being punctual and just having the understanding that like poetry really can't pay. Anything can pay, but just putting at the poetry, I had to find a good business model that really worked for me. Everybody will have their own business model, whether you want to be a poet who can make money off their books, if you want to be a poet who can put like their poems up on like audio platforms for people to stream it and make money that way. There are different ways to really make money with poetry, like exclusively, but you just gotta be intentional in the way in which you go about doing it. Because I was intentional out the gate. It was therapeutic for me, and once I kind of came into a better mindset and a better mental space to actually start working it, I did, and it's worked out for me. You know, it's not to say that I am abusing poetry in any kind of way, but it's more so to say that poetry isn't just like some art form to be discarded or to be undervalued. It's no different from being a rapper or being an artist. You know, I just chose poetry to be the way in which I plan on doing it. So even with cinematic poetry, I plan on taking a different spin on that to where like, you know, everything works out for me. And I encourage other people to do that as well. Like I always say this, I'm not doing anything that anybody else can't do. I'm not doing anything anybody else can't do. You know, my poetry style may be a little different. My open mic style may be a little bit different, but there's nothing stopping somebody else from just saying, hey, here's my open mic. You know what I'm saying? Hey, here's my new cinematic point. There's nothing stopping nobody because at the end of the day, it's all love and it's all art, but you gotta be intentional. So I definitely encourage that. If you're just watching, you're trying to figure, hey, how can I go from just like performing at open mics into becoming a featured poet or curating my own space? For one, definitely find OGs. Like OGs. But also just get out in the community and really make connections and just learn. Like I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if people who honestly I haven't even come to meet didn't set the foundation for me, and I didn't learn from people who were just there. You know what I'm saying? Just period. Like, you know, if I didn't have conversations with people like B, like Brother Young, just people in general, I wouldn't be where I'm at now. So just be intentional, be punctual, and it'll work out for you. For sure.
No, and the thing is, you just gotta do it. Like, you really just gotta do it. I mean, like, honestly, people would ask me all the time, like, how do we get, like, certain venues, and how do we do, you know, how did I bring the Flowises here? How did we become friends with Tank and the Bangers? We just talked. We literally just asked them. We just asked them to come, you know what I mean? I remember when I brought the Flowises here, I went to her inbox on Facebook.
Wow.
And she responded. And we said, she was like, here's my manager's information. And she came. Like, you know, I picked her up from the airport and we had a great time. Like, it was just, so it's like you really just have to step outside your comfort zone and just do it. You know what I mean? And you just never know. You never know what's going to happen. You never know who's listening. You never know who's watching. You just got to do it. You got to start. Right. And like you said, with talking to the venues, just go. Mm-hmm. There's all kinds of venues that you can go to. You know what I mean? Go talk to them. They might say no. Mm-hmm. Go to the next one.
Right.
Start it at your living room. I had a friend who was doing a show called The Rent Show in Atlanta, and he started it at his house. So, I mean, you know, like, you got to start somewhere. You got to start.
Yeah. Well, y'all, we've come to the end of our show. It has been an honor, it's been a privilege, a pleasure to interview these two muses, these two artists. One more shout out to my man Micah. One more shout out to my man, phone ringing, but one more shout out to my OG, Love Reigns. And that's it, y'all. Peace and love.